All right. All right. I made a mistake here on what's up, everyone. Again, we're having a little technical difficulty. So on this Instagram, if you could take this off and somehow it got set up on a boomerang, so if we can go live. How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing great. Had another awesome day ridding the world of fat. We had a couple good procedures today. Another 360 lipo, a couple abdomens, changing the world. So today, what's up, Jennifer? John? Or Ron? Sorry, Ron. It's Ron. Ron Reyes. Okay, what's up, Brenda? How's everyone doing? Hope you guys are having a great day. Today, what day is today? Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
People call this hump day, middle of the week. So today I wanted to talk about the importance of experience. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and um, today I had a patient that she went somewhere else. So she was from, I want to say Washington. She's from Washington, Seattle area, and she had gotten liposuction about a year and a half ago from someone locally in Washington area, and now a year later she didn't really see any results, and she was a pretty big girl. But she didn't see any results, and she was now here getting everything that she had spent all this money to get the procedure done previously, didn't get any results, and now she's got to spend all this money for us because it's a different place, and um, it's actually more difficult to do revisions because people have scar tissue and things of that nature. So one of the main reasons that I push the importance of experience is just that this is expensive for the consumer. So you don't want to have to spend money once and then not get the results that you're looking for, only to have to spend the money again to get it redone. And now keep in mind that redoing it's more difficult, the results aren't the same, and you have potential limitations. So it's really imperative to get this right the first time. So that's the number one reason why it's important for experience. But what I found is, so I've been doing liposuction for, what's it been now? So I think about 13 years. I mean, literally thousands and thousands and thousands of procedures, day in and day out. I've been like a machine, sucking fat and removing fat from people. And it's like, I like to think of myself as like a fat superhero. The Fatnator. I was trying to think of names. We were messing around today, trying to think of superhero names for the fat person. So if anybody has a cool superhero name for, like Lipo Man or Fat Man's, that doesn't sound good because nobody wants to be called Fat Man, but it's kind of like Batman. But so one of the things that I've been noticing, I've been doing this for so long, and I'm like, it's a mental thing. So in my mindset is I'm always trying to improve and constantly getting better and better and better. And so a true professional, a master at the art, that whatever skill you have, but a master is one that's always constantly improving. And so that's, as a liposuction specialist, that's what I'm doing, is I'm always trying to get better and always trying to get better results, because it makes a difference. And I know that the people are paying me a lot of money for the skill that I have, and I don't like having people unhappy. I don't like having people, disappointed, because that's not good for business. For one, that's like the number one thing is, like, keep your customers happy, and they'll tell other people, and they'll come back. So one of the best things that's happened for our company is just that we don't, I don't make mistakes. And I don't want to say I never make mistakes, because of course I'm not infallible, and it's always possible to make mistakes. But I've made I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and I learn from them, and I get better, and so now I don't reproduce and I don't repeat those mistakes. So what I found is, when I train other people how to do liposuction, is that they haven't made those mistakes yet, so they haven't learned from making those mistakes. And you learn this, it's over time, and you guys have to realize that at liposuction, like medicine, like anything else, this is a practice. And so we will continue to get better. Hey, this charger's not charging here. So with every patient, I'm looking to improve, and what I do is I'll try things out. So again, I'm practicing, I'm trying things out. I found that through trying, I can go deep. Like there seems to be certain layers in the fat. And so this is why, so this girl today that I was talking about that went to Washington, and the lady, the doctor who did liposuction on her, she clearly, you know, got some fat out, and I can pinch it, I can feel it was looser, and that she had done something, but there was still different layers. And so if you can imagine, like, you got this thick layer of fat, and if I go in here and I start sucking out through the middle, and it basically you separate. So now you have a top layer and a bottom layer. But most surgeons, are what they're going to do is they're going to go into this middle layer, and then it separates, and now you have a top layer. Then they work their way up, and they get all the fat out of there. Now that's good, and you can get good results doing that. But the problem is it leaves that lower layer. It leaves that layer underneath. And a lot of doctors, their thought process, I'm telling you, this is the thought process that they have, because I've trained these guys and I've talked to these doctors that have this thought process. And this plastic surgeons, a lot of them have been taught. It's the way that you're taught. So these doctors, they're taught a certain way, and it's like when you tell your kids, don't do it this way, don't do it that way, don't do it this way, and you box them in, and you box them into thinking a certain way. And so because they think a certain way, they'll get reproducible results based off of the box that they've been taught, you know, based on the restrictions that they've been getting. So, you know, one of the thought processes is that you can always take out more fat, but if you take out too much fat, you can make irregularities and mistakes. So that's their thought process. Their thought process has always been, don't take out too much fat, because you can cause irregularities, make mistakes, and get poor results. So the thought process is, I just won't take out as much, and we'll get, you know, decent results, but I won't mess up. And that's the big thing, is they're trying not to mess up. And so in trying not to mess up, they limit the possibilities, they limit the potential results that they're going to get. So because of that, they're just not getting these huge, like, you watch the stuff that I do. So go look at my pictures, and then look at pictures of other doctors, and you'll notice that no one else is getting the results that are similar to what we're getting, because the results that I get are so dramatic, because I've been pushing the limits. I've been going so far outside of this box that I'm figuring out ways to do this that no one else is doing. And the only way that I can do that is by practicing. And so with each person, I just push the limits a little bit further, and I'm kind of skating right on that edge. And so what I'm doing essentially, and so let me just explain to you what I do, is I know there's that deep layer. I know it's there. So what I do is, it's dangerous to go down like this, but I've done it thousands and thousands of times. So when you're diving down deeper, trying to get this deep fat, now, here's the problem. Here's the potential problems. If you go down too deep, you could potentially hit the muscle layer. And if you hit the muscle layer, it can cause bleeding, and it causes pain for the patient. So now, there's a balance, right? You can still go down deep, and you can get that fat layer. And then if you go a little bit too deep, you scrape the muscle, and you cause pain, and you have not irregularities, you have more potential bleeding. So what I do is I test. I go down deeper, and I push the limits. And yes, I have gotten to where I know my limits. I know how deep I can go. And so that's how I figure it out, is I test, I get down deeper. And in doing so, this is how I create the hourglass figure. And you would be amazed at how deep you can go, and how much you can carve these curves into people. And even these individuals, these larger individuals that are like 250, 300 pounds, we're creating hourglass figures, and it's like, it's insane. It's like, it blows my mind that what's possible. And the only thing I attribute it to is the fact that I'm outside of the box with everything that I do. People watch what I do, and they're like, oh, you shouldn't be pinching, you shouldn't be doing. Screw that. Shouldn't be is for other people. I'm a master of potential, and I see so much potential that people have, and so that it's about it's about ripping that potential out of them and creating this new reality. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm getting outside of the box. I'm figuring out how to do this stuff. And the only way to do that is through experience. The only way to learn that stuff is to do it thousands of times and get the experience and test. These people that are stuck inside the box, these doctors that are like, you can't do this, or you can't treat the arms because you're going to get irregularities. You can't take out too much fat. You can't do this. You can't do that. They tell you all the things you can't do. So I'm not going to tell you the things that you can't do. I'm going to tell you the things that if you do, these are going to be the consequences. And we're going to figure out what makes sense. And we're going to get you the biggest, most dramatic results possible, so you can live your life, so you can be happy, so you can enjoy and get your money's worth. I know this is expensive. I know this is a huge life change for people, individuals that you've tried your diet, you tried your exercise, and it's failed. Like you got this yo-yo diet, you're going up and down, and it's like it feels like a roller coaster, and it's frustrating, and I get it. You've been giving yourself to everyone else, and you help your kids, you help your family, you help the customers at your work, you're helping everyone else, and you neglect yourself. And that's the reason why you deserve this. You deserve it. And not only do you deserve it, but you deserve to get the best goddamn results possible. And that's what I want to give you. And the only way to get that is to push those limits. You want to go to someone that has no experience or it's got cheap prices, you're going to end up paying for it. Or you just don't get good results. But if you don't get the results that you want, the only way to get that is to pay again. So wouldn't it make sense to just go to someone who's got experience? Even if, and by the way, my prices aren't that expensive, but even if my prices are more expensive than other people, even if, it's worth it. It's so freaking worth it, because to get the results the first time means everything. And not only to get the results the first time, what if you go somewhere and you get okay results, where they take out some fat, you can notice a difference, it makes a change, but it's just, there's more fat there. That they could have gotten more. Then what? Then you got to make a decision. Then you're like, fuck, man, I got to spend the money again? And it's frustrating and it pisses you off. And believe me, I feel you. I feel you. That sucks. You don't want to get screwed by someone and, have someone, take your money, and then you just simply don't get the results that you're looking for. But what can you do? You don't really have a choice. There's no choice. You either try and sue them, which is like, you're probably not going to get much out of it. But otherwise you take the knock on the chin and keep on moving. And that's usually what most people do, is they just take the knock on the chin, call it a loss, and then they keep on moving. And then either they go and get it redone, or you live with it. So why don't you go to the first? Go to someone with experience first, who knows what they're doing, so they don't make the stupid ass mistakes the first time. I've made stupid ass mistakes. Now, don't get me wrong, I've made mistakes, but I made them already. So you don't have to put up with that crap. You don't have to deal with me figuring out my mistakes, figuring out how to do this. I've already figured out this stuff. I've already tested. I've already tried everything. And now I figured out how I can get those consistent results. I get significant fat reduction. I'm going to take out whatever you have. People say, how much are you going to get out? I don't like to set a number on it. Whatever you bring me, I'm going to take. And it's going to be all the fat. And it's going to be huge dramatic results, because once you take the fat out, your body is going to transform into what it should be, what you're supposed to be. So you take the fat out and your body will get the curves that you're supposed to have. And now everybody has different curves. Everybody has different potential. But you can get what you're supposed to be only by removing the fat and being very aggressive. All right, so I'll take some questions here. Let me run back. Did you guys see? Are you guys following it all?
Yeah, they say your your superhero name should be
Fatnator.
Fatnator and Mr. Potential, Super Potential.
Super Potential. I like that. Super Potential. Okay. Would you recommend having lipo and fat transfer to the butt on the breast, and the breast the same day, or should I wait to have? Okay, so Floor, this is a question from Facebook. So the question was, do I recommend getting fat transfer to the butt and the breast on the same day? And now, like I said, I don't like to tell you what you can't do. I like to tell you what's possible. And theoretically, it is possible to do fat transfer to the butt and the breast on one day. However, there's going to be restrictions and there's going to be some limitations. Now, when you do fat transfer, ideally you have no pressure on that area. So no pressure for 2 weeks and then limited pressure for 2 months. So that becomes a problem. So actually doing the procedure, I can figure out, I know I can figure out a way to do it and get it done for you. Now the problem is like, how are you gonna sleep? So you can't sleep on your back because your backside, your bottom, you don't want to put pressure on that, and then you can't sleep on your stomach because your chest. So that's really where the problem becomes. Like I can figure out personally, I will figure out how to do it, but the question is, will you figure out how to follow the rules appropriately to get the results that you're looking for? And so that's where the challenge is. And so theoretically, it's possible. Now you can get garments. They do make garments where the breasts are out, and you put pressure all throughout the other areas. And then you get, they have leg garments where the butts, there's no pressure on the butt. So they make these garments to allow for this kind of stuff. However, I just wouldn't recommend it. If it were one of my family members or it was me, I think that would be exceedingly difficult to live. Because sleeping will be such a huge challenge for you. So, but it's not impossible. What I would suggest, if you did choose to do it, you have to use a lot of pillows for sleeping to get yourself in a position where you're supported appropriately, but at the same time you don't have pressure in the areas where you don't want pressure. So that'd be the recommendations. Yes, Jessica, it is all mental. Okay, we do accept credit cards. We don't accept Care Credit. I saw that question here. So Care Credit is like a financing thing. So we do have a finance company that we deal with that will help if you need financing. We also do the like a layaway type plan where you can make payments on a monthly basis, and when you're paid in full, we can go ahead and move forward. Let's see. There's a question about the 360 lipo. That's awesome. So Nessival, she said she had 360 lipo in August, and she said, I'm loving my results so far. Heart, heart, heart. We'll be back again. So see, this is the cool thing. People say, like I worked with this guy in the past, this doctor, and he told me, he said he literally tells patients, plan on coming back for a second procedure because we're not going to get out enough this time. And I'm like, what in the F? Like, if I was a customer and some doctor told me that, I'd be, fuck off, like, get out of here. I would never do that. Why would you ever go somewhere with the anticipation that you're going to spend thousands of dollars and you're not going to get what you're looking for? And he's literally telling you, I'm not going to complete the job. We have to do it later. So that's crap. So, but then some people will say, well, like, then you don't, you have no potential repeat business. And that's BS too, because what, if I do a great job on their abdomen and they never have to get that treated again, never, ever get it treated again, then they'll come back for their legs and they'll come back for their arms. And not only that, they're going to tell their friends and they're going to tell their family because it's life-changing. That's why people come. That's how I make my business. That's how I got repeat business. It's not necessarily about getting you to come back for the same area twice. That's crap. I don't want to do that. I don't want that kind of business. I want to give you the best results right from the beginning, and then you're going to be like, it's going to be life-changing to the point where this is so amazing and you haven't seen anyone else that's getting results this good. It's going to be so like, wow, that you have to tell your friends, you have to tell your family, because if they didn't know about this, that's crazy. I mean, people that have like double chin and they've been walking around with this big double chin for all these years, and just in one day, boom, it's gone. Like, how could you hide that from your friends and your family? Like, people just don't know about this stuff. They don't realize that you can get liposuction while you're awake, and you can walk out of the procedure room and go out to lunch. Like, it's that easy. And if you don't believe me, just go look on our Facebook page. We have live videos of live procedures, so you can watch the patients having the procedure. So, look, we're not hiding anything. Everything. I'm an open book. And the reality is, like, people are like, well, why are you saying this stuff? Your competitors are gonna take. You know what? Good for them, because I haven't been able to teach a single damn person how to do this right. And I've tried I've tried. Maybe you guys probably don't even realize this, because I kind of try to do a stealth, where I hired other people. I hired other doctors, had them on staff here for about 8 months, and I was trying to train them and get them to learn how to do liposuction, and the intent was so I wouldn't have to do liposuction as much, or not at all. That would be, but it didn't work out. I hired four other practitioners, three PAs and a doctor, and none of them worked out, and they all sucked. I mean, they were bad. But the irony of the whole thing, this is the funny thing, is the doctor that I hired now has his own clinic locally here in Las Vegas, good old Las Vegas. So, you know, I gave out the secrets, and now this guy is trying to start his own practice. But you know what? There is no competition when you're the best. And so I'm not scared at all because I know that I don't know anybody on the market that's even getting the results close to as dramatic and consistent as the results that we get here at my Shape Lipo. So no, I don't care about telling people my techniques. I don't care about telling people how I do what I do because it's not that easy. It's not that easy to run a business. It's not that easy to do liposuction. It's not that easy to get these kind of results. So if you think that you're going to go to someone local, someone close to you, that they do liposuction as just one of the other things that they do, that they do like one or two procedures a month, and you think that they're going to be good, you're fooling yourself. And don't be fooled. And I know there's a lot of you out there that are you're living in like some small town, and you think that you're just gonna go, like you live outside of Dallas and you're gonna have to, oh, I'm just gonna go in and find somebody. Just anybody will be good enough. Liposuction is liposuction, right? Well, that's not true. And this misbelief that plastic surgeons, they like to sell this idea that plastic surgeons are the best, and that they get the best results. But the truth is that plastic surgeons are human, and you can't train liposuction. You can't train it in school. There's no book, there's no video that you watch, there's none of that crap. There's a certification, which is a weekend course, which that does not, you're not going to know how to do liposuction after a weekend course. And so to be good at liposuction, you have to do it a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I mean, like thousands of times. And the problem is that these doctors that do such a low volume, there's just no way that they can get that kind of volume. They get that kind of experience. So here's the problem with that. When you're doing one or two procedures a month, you forget. I'm telling you, you forget this stuff. You forget how you set up, you forget the positioning, you forget where you're supposed to put the added holes. And so when the practitioner has to think about the little stuff, they can't think about the big stuff. They can't think about the global perspective, the results that they're trying to get. They can't think about those things because they're so focused on the little stuff. They're focused on getting the little stuff right that they can't think about the big stuff. So when you get enough experience, it's like you make these mistakes and then you commit that to memory. You also you create a muscle memory. So and I liken this to like basketball or soccer or baseball. You create muscle memory. So like when you're throwing a ball at baseball, it's like now, like I'm not a baseball player, so if I go to throw a baseball, I'll look like I'm retarded because I'm like I don't have the motion, I don't have the muscle memory, I don't have those fine intricate muscles that allow for my arm to move properly. I was a soccer player, but I know when I kick, I have the muscle memory still. But I know when I watch other people, they look stupid because they don't know what they're doing. They don't have the technique down. But not only that, they haven't done the same movement thousands of times to create the smooth, fluid motion. So when I watch other doctors do surgery, liposuction, just being one aspect of surgery, but there's lots of other surgeries that doctors do that it's about building up a muscle memory. You have to do the same movements over and over and over. It's repetitive motion. You have to do this stuff, or else you don't build up the memory. It's like a workout. You have to continue to do this and go into the same motion. Your body creates the muscle memory, and it becomes easy. Then you don't have to think about the simple things, the simple motions about what you're supposed to be doing. For me, it's literally like I don't have to think. And I use my hands. My hands are like an extension of my eyes. I feel like I can see, I can visualize what I'm doing on the inside, and I can visualize where the fat is, the deeper layers. How I can visualize the anatomy. I can see these things, and I see them through my hands. And so in some cases, I can actually close my eyes, and then when you close your eyes, you get hyper focused on the sensations that you feel in your hands. And so when I'm able to do that, allows me to. That's when I'm really able to push the limits, and I can be more in tune with the patient's movement. So when I get a little bit too deep, you can sense. I can sense the patient's moving, and see, these are like the intricate details that I can't teach this stuff. Believe me, I try to teach this stuff, but I can't teach it. Like you have to learn it. You have to do. And like I can say the words to you, but it doesn't make sense until you feel it. So that was really the big problem with me when I was trying to train people. So when I talk about like why does experience matter, like it's really it's about like as a consumer, and I try to see it from everyone's perspective. I try to see it from the patient's perspective. Like if you're coming to someone, you expect them to be an expert. Like when they get the title doctor, like that's you expect them to be an expert at whatever they're doing. But the reality is, and you need to realize this, is that most of these doctors are not experts, especially doing liposuction. See, liposuction is one of those things that um, liposuction is one of those procedures that a lot of doctors are they try to add it on to their practice. So you'll see primary care doctors, you'll see OBGYN doctors, you'll see dermatologists, you'll see um, who else is doing liposuction? Plastic surgeons, obviously, but pretty much anybody technically can do liposuction because all that's required. And so this is the things that people need to realize that all is that's required is you need a medical license. So you need an MD, PA, DO, nurse practitioner, NP, any four of those licenses that will allow you to technically do liposuction. Now, and able to do it, all you have to do is there's a weekend course, costs like 6 grand, and you get certified, and then you get insurance. That's it. So technically, you could do liposuction next week if you're an MD. Now, the problem is that as soon as you mess something up and someone sues you, you're done. Like it could ruin your career because once you start getting lawsuits, it's like that stuff goes on your record. The medical board, they start investigating. So all this stuff becomes problems. So getting past that initial phase of like making mistakes. So that was the advantage of these guys working for me is because when they worked for me, I would be there to make sure that they didn't make any stupid mistakes. Okay, so that gave them the ability to practice and make mistakes without having the consequence of messing things up really bad. Now, for 8 months, I babied these guys, handheld them, did everything with them, and they were still unable to get it. So I don't know what to tell you. I wish I didn't have to do this for the rest of my life. And in fact, I'm not going to do liposuction the rest of my life. But at this point in my career, I don't know anyone that's better. And I look for results. I look for my competition, but I don't know anyone that's even like that's not even close. I don't know anyone that's even close to as good as what I am. And it's not. And I'm not trying to like brag, and I'm not trying to say that. I'm not cocky. I mean, I am cocky, but I'm not cocky. I'm not. This is confidence. I'm confident that I can get you the results that you're looking for. I'm confident that I can get out more fat than anyone else on the market. I'm confident that I can get you smooth, even results better than anyone else. And so, you know, I've done lipo on a lot of my friends and family, and I have neighbors, and a lot of people that I've done liposuction for, and my mom, for example, and people are like, isn't that weird? You're doing liposuction on your mom? And the answer is yes. Yes, it's freaking weird. I did lipo on my sister, and it's freaking weird when they're laying there naked, and like it's weird, and I'm doing liposuction on them. But my thought process is like, why would I ever send anyone that I know, if I know I'm better than everyone else, why would I allow them to go and have anyone else do a procedure on them? Because if it gets messed up, I'll feel bad. Not only that, I'll have to fix it. So I'd rather do it right the first time and get them the results that they're looking for. You guys see any other questions that? Okay.
There's a lot of people stating right now that, can they, when it comes to MyShape Lipo, can they request you specifically?
I'm the only one that does the lipo here. So all those other guys have been fired. They're gone. So you guys don't have to worry about it. And you're probably, if you guys do, go search, and there's a few reviews out there. When those guys were here, we got some bad reviews and negative reviews. So a lot of the negative stuff that you might see about MyShape Lipo came during that time period. They got some bad results, and I'm disappointed. I feel bad for the people that were their patients at the time. But again, this is a practice, and it's part of my learning process. That was part of my learning process. So I had to learn that if I want to get the best of the best results, then I'm just gonna have to do it myself. So I'm making it happen now. I don't want to do this the rest of my life. It's really hard work. It's hard labor. But I've gotten to the point where I can do this with my eyes closed, and I can get phenomenal results, consistently, and it's easy for me. It's just this whole thing is easy. It's and I do it so quickly, and so just in a comparison, so you guys understand, all of these 4 guys that I was training, after 8 months, they would average per procedure. So we're talking like a basic, like let's say a 360 lipo procedure. It would take them about 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours to complete a 360 lipo procedure. So now you compare that to me, when I'll do the exact same job, except I'll do it much better. Get out more fat, make everything smooth and even, and complete results in about an hour and a half. So you compare to about 6 hours, and so a lot of my competitors I know take a long time as well, because they tell patients that it'll take them 4 or 5 hours. So I know they take a long time, and so there's a big problem with that. There's a really big problem with that, and people, you may not realize, and you may not even think about this, that every minute that you're on a procedure table, and you're like the wounds are open, you're bleeding. Every moment you're bleeding, just a little bit, but you're bleeding. So when you're on the table for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, you're bleeding the entire time. And so it's taxing on the body. The other thing is that every moment that the people on the table, there's a level of stress. And so when you get this level of stress, it releases hormones in your body, and your body has it's like the adrenaline. And so it's the fight or flight. So people get this fight or flight response where they're not agitated, but they're eager. Their heart starts racing. They're ready. Like they're clenching. They're tightening their muscles. And so when you tighten your muscles for an extended period of time, you end up completely exhausting yourself. And so what I saw with these other practitioners is what I saw as the patients progressed through this time zone. So it's like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. As they progress through this, they get to the point where they're completely exhausted, and they don't have anything left in them. And so when you get completely exhausted, they start to give up. And so when the patients are allowed to get to that point where they're so exhausted they just give up, and they're like, I can't do this anymore, and they're just like done, you don't get as good as results because you can't finish, right? So you don't ever want to get them to that. So if we can, the quicker that we can do the procedure, quicker we can get off the table, the less of these side effects. So you end up getting side effects when you get completely exhausted. People end up getting dehydrated. They had blood loss, so they had issues with blood loss. They had lightheaded, dizziness. People would have nausea, vomiting, like lots of side effects. And this all came with this. When these guys went away, all those side effects went away too. So now I can finish those procedures in an hour and a half. And instead of them doing 1 procedure a day, I can do 4 or 5 procedures a day. Everything turns out great. We get fantastic results. We don't have the side effects. Our patients do well. We have everyone's happy. So, I needed to learn. I needed to learn that, and that was a lesson for me, to have those people. And then believe me, it was a very, very expensive lesson. So, you guys complain about paying stuff. That was very, very expensive to pay 4 practitioners and train them for 8 months, only to have to get rid of them, and it was like, it was money down the drain. Not only that, we got negative reviews, so who knows how that's affected the business. But experience matters. Experience matters. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by going into these people that are cheaper, or they're closer to where you live, and you're like, oh, but they do liposuction. They, you know, but you don't go to your OBGYN for liposuction. Just because they got a machine doesn't mean that it's good, because it's not the machine that gets the results. It's the person, it's the practitioner. It's like they have to know what to do. You put any machine in my hand and I'm going to get you phenomenal results. It doesn't matter what it is. You put anything in my hand and I'll make it happen. A straw with suction attached to it and I'll give you the best results possible. But these other doctors, they start to they try to tell you that, oh, this technology, it's amazing, it's the highest end, and this and that, and I have laser and I have this and that. But you know what? It's all bullshit, because they don't have any skills. And so that's all that matters. It doesn't matter any of like the technical stuff. Like, man, you give me like 50-year-old liposuction equipment and I'll give you phenomenal results. And it's not because the equipment's good or bad, it's because I know what the hell I'm doing. And all you need to do is give me something that sucks, and I'll make you awesome. Give you that hourglass figure. But 360 lipo, man, 360 lipo is my favorite right now. The 360 lipo has revolutionized my practice. A large portion of my patients, over half of my patients now, are getting 360 lipo, and it's like when I say it's revolutionized, it's like it's rejuvenated me, because I love the results. It's the coolest thing ever to be able to create the bodies that I've been able to create. To be able to take someone that was in their mindset, they see themselves as obese, and for them to walk out of my office with an hourglass figure, that's freaking cool. And that makes me feel good. And so like when I feel good, I get pumped up, I get excited to do the next one. And when I do the next one, I get excited because those results are good too. And it's the coolest thing I saw. So the other day I was at Home Depot, and I was picking up some supplies for a project that I'm doing, and I hear my name. I say, "Oh, there's Trevor." And one of my patients comes running up to me with her husband, dragging her husband behind. And she said, "Trevor, Trevor, Trevor, hey, do you remember me?" And I was like, like I see lots of people, so I didn't remember her name, but I she's like, "Yeah, I was there, 6 months ago, and I did, 360 lipo and fat transfer to the butt." And she's like, she was almost stripping down naked in the middle of Home Depot to show me the results, because she was so excited. And her husband's in the back like, "Oh my God, don't," like, all embarrassed. But to me, that was the coolest thing ever, because I don't always get to see people outside, in their real life. And I don't get to see how the confidence that they get from the ability to wear, any clothes that they want, or the confidence that they get that when they walk into the room and they're not thinking like, "Oh my God, everybody's staring at me because I'm fat," because I know that's what you people think. I know it, because I've been told that so many times, and that's why you're here. That's why you're listening to me right now, because it bothers you, and it doesn't have to bother you. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to, affect your life, because it's something that, look, the only thing that separates you and the body that you want is money. That's the only thing. Okay, and once you realize that, all you have to do is go out and get the money. Go out and figure out how to get the money. Figure out how to save the money. If it means like saving up each month. I have patients that save up for like 4 years until they finally come get the procedure. But it doesn't have to be that long. If you can save, $300 a month, $400 a month, put it aside. You can give it to us. We'll hold it and build up that bank for you. But there's a process. You can do it. You can do it. Maybe you can only save $100 a month. Whatever it is, put it in your piggy bank. You know, put it in your jar where you're filling this your lipo money. Every time you get paid, pull $100 out, $200 out every 2 weeks. You know, pull that money out. You can get this. The only thing that separates you and the body that you want is money. That's it. It's possible, and you can have it, and I can get it for you consistently. So it's not like, oh my God, where should I go? You know where to go. You know where the best results are. You've seen it. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. You see the results. You've seen me. I come live on here. I do procedures live. Who the hell else is going to do live procedures? Who's doing live procedures now? I haven't seen anybody. And you know why? It's because they don't trust themselves. They think that they're going to fuck it up live. That's what they're scared of. And I promise you, I'm scared of it. I'm scared of that. But yet I did it because I'm confident that I get consistent results and I can control the situation. That's the difference. That's what experience gives you, is that confidence to go live, that confidence to, yeah, sure, watch me. I don't care. You can see everything. I don't care because I know what I do is great. I know the results that I get are phenomenal and I know it's consistent. I don't do revisions of my own work. The only revisions I do are from other doctors. So there's something to be said about that. So just so you understand, revision is when you redo. So you have liposuction once and you have to redo the same area. I don't do that on my patients almost ever. I think in this last year I've had 2 people out of, God, was it like 500? That's such a low percentage. Low percentage. But yet other doctors that I've spoken to, they said their revision rate is upwards of like 25 to 50%. And I'm like, I'd shoot myself. I would literally shut down this business if I had to do a revision on 50% of my patients. I would not be doing this. I would quit and I would go be a professional poker player or something else. But I would not do liposuction if I had to do revisions that often. Because revisions are difficult. So that's one reason I wouldn't want to do it. But it's also, anytime you have a revision, that means you have an unhappy customer. And so you're dealing with an unhappy person. And I hate dealing with unhappy people. I don't want to. I just don't want to. I want my patients to be happy. I don't want to. That's why I don't offer other services. I don't want to offer other services that I can't like, you know, and again, I can't guarantee, but I want to be able to like I want to be very confident that I'm going to get the best damn results. And I don't want to do some service where we're going to have okay results, like CoolSculpt, for example. If I'm sure some of you, someone out here has tried CoolSculpt and gotten no results. So I don't offer CoolSculpt because I know that the results are mediocre, and I don't want to deal with the crap that comes from the unhappy patient. So, I know that you want to get the best results, and I know that you want dramatic results. You want as much fat out as possible. Everybody says the same thing. But if you take out too much fat, there's consequences and you can get negative results. So you got to have someone with experience. If you want to get the best, most dramatic results where you get the most of the fat out and still have those smooth results where it looks natural afterwards, you got to go with someone that has experience. And not just a little bit of experience. Like plastic surgeon, just don't assume that a plastic surgeon has experience because that's BS. These plastic surgeons are going to blow smoke up your ass all day long. And they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. But the reality is they don't know what the hell they're doing. Unless they've done thousands of procedures, they don't know what the hell they're doing. Each time they're trying to make it up because they don't remember. The memory is, you have to do this stuff over and over. You have to create the muscle memory. So just trying to remember this stuff, like each time, like I've had these doctors that they do this so few procedures that they can't remember how to set up. They don't remember the positioning. I mean, this is simple stuff. I mean, hell, my medical assistants could guide some of these doctors through this because they've seen it so many times. You guys see any questions?
This is one from Gabe. It says, I love your work you do. It's great. However, I take different medications for my disability. If I booked with you, would any of the medications put me in harm's way?
I'm sorry, say that again. I was trying to read.
No problem. It's about medications.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about them?
Uh, when I go to, however, I take different medications for my disability.
Okay.
But if I booked with you, would any of the medications put me in harm's way?
Well, theoretically, yes, it's possible. I don't know what medication she's taking. So the question was, are there any medications that that would put them in harm's way for as regards to liposuction? So there are, so people that have medical conditions, I always have them get medically cleared from their treating physician. So um, like for example, if you have a heart condition, I'm not a heart expert. I'm not going to clear you for surgery. So you go to your cardiologist. They say, okay, we've done all these tests. Everything's good. Their medications managed well, and so they're cleared for surgery. Or they might say, hey, they have a heart. They had a you know previous heart condition and they're on a blood thinner, and we're going to need to stop blood thinners for 1 week prior to the procedure, and then afterwards we'll start it back up, and they'll create the protocol for that. So there's different ways depending on the conditions that you have. There's anything's possible. Okay, so anything's possible. So let's go with that mindset that anything's possible. Then we'll just figure out how to make it work. So I hate creating boxes. So when you want to do something, we'll just figure out how to make it work, and figure out for your situation how to make it work. This is not a terribly invasive procedure. Patients don't really bleed much. One of the big problems though is if you're taking blood thinners. So if you have any condition where you have to take a blood thinner, that's something where you're going to have to stop the blood thinner. And if you're unable to stop a blood thinner, then that becomes a problem. So that would be the big issue. Other than that, there's not really, it's none of the other medications, if you're taking antibiotics or blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, none of this stuff matters to me. None of that stuff's going to affect what I do. So there's very few things that will stop us from doing this procedure unless you have some type of life-threatening disease, active cancer, uncontrolled diabetes. If you have medical problems that are uncontrolled, then that's where things become a problem. So, you know, but each situation is a little bit different. We do offer free consultations. We can address those issues during your consultation. Someone says, what does the 360 lipo include? So 360 lipo it's not a inclusive procedure. What it is a description of what we do. So 360 lipo is describing the fact that we're going 360 degrees all the way around the waistline to create the hourglass figure. It shapes the lower back to create that arch for your lower back, and it shapes the butt. So 360 lipo is more of like a description of the procedure. Now, how we price it is going to be priced differently depending on the individual. We have some individuals that are very large and they have more areas to treat, and some individuals that are smaller and have less areas to treat. So some people that you have to break it up into two separate procedures because they have a huge front belly that we can only do a procedure on the front of the belly, and then we have to come back and do the sides and lower back afterwards. So everyone's a little bit different. If you're interested, the next step is getting your free consultation. We can do the consultations over the phone. Most of our patients are flying in from out of state, so I'm sure many of you are watching from out of state. This is Las Vegas. There's flights from everywhere. You can get here from anywhere in the world, and it's relatively cheap flights. Hotels, and it's Vegas. I mean, bring your husband. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring someone with you and make it a vacation. When you go get your lipo and have them go, hit the town and go to the sports bars and gamble or whatever they want to do. Or you're not going to be feeling like crap after the liposuction procedure, so you can actually go out to dinner afterwards. You can actually do things. You can go to shows. Anything's possible. I don't like to heavily sedate my patients, so my patients they walk out of here feeling fine. You don't have nausea. Rarely do we ever have issues with nausea. Lightheadedness and dizziness is sometimes people are getting those issues, but for the most part, people are feeling pretty good when they leave the procedure. When they leave our office, they're able to walk themselves to the car. And it's I've had the procedure too. I actually, after my procedure, and this was about 10, 11 years ago, I actually rode home. I had a motorcycle at the time. I rode home on my motorcycle and came back to work the next morning. So and my job's very physical, so it's I know it's possible. And so again, I don't like to limit people. So if you want to do stuff, just let me know what you want to do, and I'll figure out. Like that's my creativity. I can figure things out. I can get creative, and we can figure in how to make whatever it is that you want to do. We'll make it work. I do have some people that have requests that to do things that would lead to negative results. So my job is not only to do no harm on you, but my job is to not allow you to choose harm or to put yourself in harm's way. So some people, for example, um, they want to get full body liposuction, except they come in, they're like, I want the lower belly treated, the chin, the inner thighs, and my upper calves. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense because you treat just the lower abdomen here, that leaves all the surrounding fat around it. That looks weird. That's not gonna make sense. The inner thighs, if you have big thighs and you only treat the inner thighs, it's gonna be like an ice cream scoop where you're just scooping out the fat and it's all the surrounding areas are big. That doesn't look natural. It doesn't look normal. So it's my job to tell you, what to expect from the treatment plan. Now, I can never guarantee because I don't control everything. So all I do is I take the fat out and try, and I give you the conditions for the best results. Now, your body has to accommodate and heal and do what's necessary to get the best results. But my job is just to get the fat out and take it out as even and smooth as possible to give you the potential for the best results. So people, you have to kind of understand that slight difference there because the final results, there's still, once the procedure is done, there's still the possibility of things happening afterwards. For example, when you wear compression garments, the compression garments themselves, they could bind up. So if they're not putting flat pressure like against the surface, if they're kind of hitting at an angle, or they cause a ridge, or maybe they fold, like where you get your natural fold in your stomach. Now if they fold and they cause a ridge on your stomach, as your body forms the scar tissue, it could form the scar tissue with that ridge there permanently. So that looks weird. So, this is where the experience, I try to explain this to everybody afterwards, the things that you can do to get you the best results. What's up, Dottie? I just saw it. She said, "You're the best." It's so cool. Some of you people that are on here that, are new and maybe haven't seen me before, or you're considering coming to MyShape Lipo, there's a lot of patients that are on here now. So when you see people making comments, there's a lot of my previous patients that are on this live right now and they're commenting. So if you see them, there's one early that said that she got the 360 lipo and in August and she loves her results. Dottie was a previous patient, Dottie Marsh, a previous patient of ours, multiple times, and she got phenomenal results. So, look, my patients are coming. That says something, that they're coming back, and it's like, maybe they want more liposuction, but just the fact that they support me that's awesome, and I appreciate that, and it's I think there's so much value in that as like a consumer, like you're not you're looking on here and you're like, you hear what I'm saying, you hear the words that I'm saying, you're like, I'm not sure if I should believe this guy. Like he's overly confident and he's arrogant, maybe. Whatever you might think about me. But here's the thing: go talk to my patients. Go talk to them. They've had the procedure. They know. They know the process. They know what happens. They know me. And I might be the biggest asshole in the world, but I get freaking awesome results. And if that's what you want, then it doesn't really matter whether I'm an asshole. I try not to be a dick, but but I've been doing this a long time, so it's okay. I can say what I need to say, and some people like that. Some people like, you're gonna get the truth from me, whether you like it or not. And sometimes that's unfortunate because people don't want to hear the truth. Let's see. Let's see. Any questions here? I'm I was like not reading for a long time, so I'm trying to scroll.
Oh, there's some questions here about the smaller framed individuals. Can they have BBLs?
Smaller frame. Okay, so people who perhaps okay, so we have some small individuals that want to get a Brazilian butt lift or a BBL. Um, the limitations on that is going to be the amount of fat. So you remember we have to take the fat out of somewhere and then transfer it to the butt. And so the quality and the volume that we're able to increase the butt is going to be directly proportionate to the amount of fat that I'm able to take from other areas. So now if you're really small and you don't have fat anywhere else, then it's going to be difficult to get enough fat to make the change that you're looking for. So typically in those situations, I recommend the individual to gain. It's usually about 10 pounds would be sufficient, but it obviously depends on what you are right now and you know where you have your fat deposits. You know, some small individuals have a nice little fat deposit around the waistline, and we take it out and boom, just transfer it to the butt. Everything works out great. But it, you know, again, get the consultation because you know I'm just speaking generalizations right now, but we have to actually see pictures of you and get an idea of what to expect. I see there's a question here about the tummy tuck. Um, so they actually said they they believe they need a tummy tuck, and they're saying, is it worth getting a liposuction first? So here's my philosophy on that. The number one thing is plastic surgeons are going to tell everybody they need a tummy tuck. So if you've gone to a plastic surgeon, they told you tummy tuck, don't like take it with a grain of salt. It means nothing because it was just a box that they were taught. The plastic surgeons, they tell everybody that they need tummy tuck, and you really don't. So unless you have loose hanging skin, and even if you do have loose hanging skin, you may not need a tummy tuck. It kind of depends on your expectations. What the tummy tuck is you're literally just cutting. They cut all the way to the sides and sometimes further, depending on what your needs are. They cut all the way to the side and they cut out a piece of skin and they pull down and sew you back up. So now you have a huge scar, and then the belly button. When they pull it down, the belly button isn't sitting in the right spot. So they cut a hole where the belly button is, cut a new hole in your skin, and then sew the belly button in. So now you have a weird looking belly button, huge scar all the way across the bottom. It looks weird. So I don't personally like the way it looks. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that don't like it either. But you've been told you need a tummy tuck. So that's what you believe you need. So I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. Don't listen to that. Plastic surgeons, they were taught that offer people tummy tuck, make the most amount of money, and they can control the results. It's total BS. It's not in your best interests. Tummy tucks are very expensive. You have to do general anesthesia. There's lots of side effects. The results are mediocre at best. One of the problems that they do when they do tummy tuck is they can't do enough liposuction to get the best results. So the kind of results that I get, there's no way it's possible. They can't do that when you do a tummy tuck. And the reason is when you get overly aggressive with the liposuction, it degrades the blood supply. We break through some of the blood supply. Now, when you get liposuction, that's not a big deal because you don't really need that blood supply anymore because the fat's gone. It was feeding the fat. When we talk about tummy tuck, though, the blood supply feeds the skin. And so when we make a huge incision, the most important part is we have to get that incision to heal. So when you do a lot of liposuction, as much as I like to do to get the results that I get, it degrades the blood supply. That wound won't heal, so they'll never do that. And so the plastic surgeons will not get you the same results in regards to the liposuction, the contouring that you will get from liposuction. So my recommendations are get liposuction first, and I can get you amazing results, get you the hourglass figure. And in many cases, that fold will go away completely. Even I've had patients where it's hanging over 3-4 inches and it goes away completely. So with the right technique, we can make amazing results to completely eliminate the necessity for a tummy tuck. So if you've been told you need a tummy tuck, don't believe it. What if they're wrong? Check out our pictures, talk to some of our patients, give us a call. Look, if you have a lot of fat and you're being told you need a tummy tuck, they're going to just cut the skin and leave the fat behind. So get the fat sucked out first. We'll get the huge dramatic change. Your skin will retract. maybe that fold will go away completely and you won't need a tummy tuck. That would be awesome. Boom, I just saved you money. You're welcome. So Instagram's gonna end here in about a minute. So I appreciate you guys jumping on. Someone says garlic is on the list of items not to eat before we do surgery. So it's probably not going to make a difference, but it's garlic is listed as a blood thinner. But whatever, it's probably not going to be a problem. Any other questions? You guys should be following Candy Lover 89. She's on Facebook and Instagram. She's one of our influencers. We've done a couple of procedures. She's had phenomenal results. So Candy Lover 89, go follow her. You can talk to her, ask her questions. She's a previous patient, and we got lots of stuff on her in previous procedures live. Thanks, Instagram. All right, so a couple more quick questions on Facebook before I end this.
People are asking, how can I get a consultation? How can you?
Okay, so the consultation, well, go to our the page. We have a link, right? We have a link on our So we have a link on the Instagram as well as on Facebook. On the web, you can go to our website, myshapelipo.com. There's a link there for the free consultation, or we call it body shape analysis. Or you can always call our office. It's the phone number is 702-818-5476. Hopefully someone will post that for me on Facebook. Yeah, we try to make it really easy, especially those people that are flying in from out of state. We try to make it as simple as possible. So you can set up your consultation. You can do everything over the phone, and the only time you have to fly out here is for your procedure. Our deposit, the deposit's 25% of the procedure cost, so it depends on whatever your procedure cost is. We have our layaway program. It works just like layaway, where you're going to make monthly payments, and this is your choice. So we are just a facilitator in this, and we're holding the money for you until you have enough to pay for the procedure. So if you want to set it up, we can do this like on a credit card, where each month we run your credit card for whatever agreed upon amount, whether that's a couple $100 or whatever. And then as long as it takes for you to build up to that amount, then we'll do the procedure at that point. Maybe that's 6 months, maybe that's a year. Yeah. Let's see, is there a limit to how much fat you may have transferred to the butt? So is there a limit to how much fat you can have transferred to the butt? The answer is yes. And there is no specific limit. So there's not like a guideline or anything like that. The limit is more so how much your body will accept. So when I mean how much it will accept, so that's the skin. If you imagine your skin is kind of like a water balloon, and when we're filling it up, it stretches out, it expands out, but there's a point at where there's so tense, there's so much pressure from the skin pushing back that it'll essentially just push the fat back out. So the limitation is for the individual, and some people I can put a ton of fat, and other people very little, particularly the very small individuals. And this is the thing that's kind of frustrating, is because the people that are smaller, they want much bigger dramatic change, but they're just not, it's not even possible to stretch their skin out as much, because it's not possible. So we inject as much as we can. For those people that you're not able to get the volume that you want with one procedure, it is possible to do multiple, and they call it serial injections. So we can do one injection now, you go throughout the healing process, so about a month, maybe 2 months, so then we can come back and do another liposuction and re-inject that fat as well. So I have had a few people that have done that. The results are awesome, and so it's like you just kind of build on the previous results. So it's definitely possible. It's something to consider if you're looking to go as big as possible. I just had a hernia mesh, and I was told that my stomach muscles are separated. Is that something you can repair, and can I still get my stomach lipo? Okay, so if you had surgery for a hernia and you have a mesh in there already, as long as things are healed, we're good to go. I even had some patients that have small hernias that I still work on them without having them repaired. And there's techniques that I use to do that. A hernia, just so you guys understand, essentially is weakening of the muscle wall, and when it weakens, it creates like a hole. So you get a hole where the uh, the intestines will like start to pooch out. So that's where you get that bulging in your belly. It's the intestines pooching out through the hole. So the easy way to assure that you don't hit something like that is when I get close to it, I literally just push a finger. So that stuff that's sticking out in there, I push the finger down, and then I do my liposuction, everything around it. So it's the safest way to do it. It's just one of my little tricks. But that gives me confidence to work on people with hernias without getting into trouble. But if you've had it repaired, then it's no big deal. Going to focus on me and do it. That's right. So Lily, I was talking about this. We get a lot of helper. I'm going to call these helper individuals, and these are people that like to help by nature. And so these are people like we get a lot of nurses, social workers, flight attendants. These are people, moms, lots of moms, like stay-at-home moms. And these are people that they give to everyone. They're helpers. They help everyone. That's their job. That's their life. That's their passion. And so when they help everyone else, what do? They neglect themselves. And at some point they're like, they draw the line. They're like, that's it. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of giving everything to everyone else. It's my turn. And so that's when you say that, Lily, it's my turn. That's what I'm talking about. It's your turn. It's time for you to focus on yourself because you've given so much to so many people. You deserve it. You deserve it. You need to do this. You need to feel better about yourself. So I always use this analogy, like when you're on the plane and they're telling you, if we crash, the airbags are going to drop in the ceiling. They never say put the airbag on someone else first, then do it yourself. They always say do it yourself first. And the reason is because if you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be able to help other people. So all these people that are helper individuals, you can help other people so much more when you take care of yourself first. It's like you got to fill your own cup so then you can have overflow. You fill your cup first, you have an overflow, and the overflow goes to the other people. And so many people make this mistake so many times, and so this is a big mistake, and this will cost you so much throughout your life because you give without taking. And we've made it like a taboo to take, like it's bad. You're so selfish. That's crap. Don't listen to when people say that. Don't listen to that, and don't stop feeling that way. Give to yourself first. Imagine like you're a cup, and you have to pour into yourself. Give yourself first. Pour into yourself. So that's education, that's diet, that's exercise. These are things that you do for yourself, for your health. And if you can take care of yourself first, then you can start taking care of other people. But you can't, like, how are you going to tell your kids you need to go on a diet when you're 300 pounds? How are you going to tell your kids that? They're not going to listen to you. No one's going to listen to you. Hell, you won't even listen to yourself because you won't believe it. You have to live this stuff. If you have to be the example, be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in yourself. You want to be thinner? Be it. Do it. Take action. Be the example. So it's your turn. It's your turn. So thank you for saying that, Lily, because it really that's you guys can see I'm passionate about that. But I'm sick of seeing, and I see this all the time. I see this with moms. Mothers, you have a few kids and you give everything to those kids, and most of the time they don't deserve it, right? I'm just joking. But you give everything to them and you neglect yourself for so long, and then at some point you're just like you have nothing left. Your cup is empty. And that's when you draw the line. You're like, fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm done giving. It's my turn. Your kids are out of the house or like you're sick of your job because it's like you've been given so much. But it's like it depletes you. You gotta fill your own cup first. Someone says you're a good asshole. That was Dottie. It's okay for Dottie to say that. You just go watch the lipo procedures. Yep. Oh yeah, so Dottie was saying, so she's 5'1". So this is like the cool thing. So when you're short, and you carry your weight, everything around the midsection, it makes you look like a box. It makes your shape like you don't have the normal curves, the hourglass. You don't have that anymore. And particularly when you get it when you turn around to the backside and you get fat in that lower back where you should have that arch, and it starts to fill in. And when it fills in, your butt looks flat. So I have this I joke about it, like these people, they have this SpongeBob appearance. They're literally like very boxy. The front, the back, they're very boxy. And so it's like you can take the fat out of there, and particularly on shorter people. This is super cool. So if your fat, your belly sticks out further than your breast, that looks weird. So taking out the front of the belly, all of a sudden your boobs stick out further. But when you clean out the entire waistline, including the lower back, do the 360, um, you can actually make it appear that the torso is longer. So now I'm not making you taller. So this is just a visual illusion that we're doing. But when you have a smaller waistline, it'll make it appear that you're taller. So if you want to look taller, we have a way to do it. And so this is the cool thing. So like when you wear your high heels and you try to get taller, like you don't want to be taller and boxy. You want to be taller and elongated. So create those streamlines, those curves. So that's the magic of the 360 lipo. So if you're thinking about liposuction of the abdomen, you definitely need to consider the 360, doing all the way around the lower back, especially if you have the problem. Is there a limit of fat you can transfer to the buttocks? We talked about that earlier. Just called. I was told I had to wait 6 months after my surgery. Robin, 6 months after your surgery, I don't know what kind of surgery, if you can, I don't know if you want to say that on here. Let's see. But typically it's not, like really, I just need things to heal. But if you've had surgery on the area that we're treating, the worst case scenario, you don't want to go in there and, open up another wound. So you just definitely have to have those wounds healed. Can you do smart lipo only on the bottom of the abdomen and at the top, just lipo? So Francesca, yes, it's possible. Smart lipo is a laser. It's a separate treatment. It's done at the same time with liposuction, but it's a separate machine. So it is possible to do smart lipo. Technically anywhere. You can do it anywhere and not on other places. You can do lipo, on areas where you do smart lipo or not do smart lipo. So, it's up to you. I recommend, if you're using smart lipo for the purpose of skin tightening, the larger the surface area that you cover, the more you're getting. If you imagine that you're getting micro contractions. So if you're getting micro contractions, just because you treat down here, if you have micro contractions in a small surface area, you're going to get a micro pull. So you're not going to get as big of dramatic of a change. If you're trying to get that lower belly, that fold to go away, you want as much micro contractions as possible. Cumulative micro contractions will make larger contractions of the skin. So the larger surface area, so if you treat up here, it essentially pulls from the sides, it pulls everything. So the larger surface area, you're going to get a bigger change. So ultimately, it depends on what you want, and whether it's worth it to you to pay for it, essentially. Lily says, I'm in Washington State. The patient I had from today was from Washington as well, Lily. So you can fly out here. And I know there's no one good in Washington. Let's see. Can you fix stomach muscles? I don't fix stomach muscles. Let's see. What are the requirement does person have to be a candidate? You have to have fat. So the question was, what requirements does a person have to be a candidate for liposuction? And the only qualification that I have, requirement, is that you have fat, and hopefully a lot of it, because I like to get lots of fat. Okay, so someone was talking about you know how that you don't understand like the whole pouring into your cup thing. Okay, so let me explain that again because this is an important thing, and so I'm not saying don't help other people. I'm just saying you help yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first. I still help my kids, but if it's like I need to do something for myself that's important, or do something for my kid that's not really important, they're just screaming like a little punk. I'm going to take care of myself first and then help them when I'm ready. And so that's kind of what I mean. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that you still that you neglect people, but if you're not giving to yourself, you can do both. I'm not saying don't help, don't do the other things. It's not about not doing things. It's about doing more. It's it's taking the time to help yourself, because what the problem is what people do is they're pouring out of their cup. So they're pouring out of their cup, they're giving to someone else, and they're pouring, and the next thing there's nothing in their cup, so now they're empty. So they're unhappy because they haven't given in them anything themselves, so they have no confidence. They're unhappy about their life. They they haven't accomplished anything because they've been focusing on other people and doing stuff for other people, so they have no accomplishments. So there's no confidence, and then that is coupled by their overweight, and they have no energy, and they're not eating right, and like all that stuff. So I'm not saying don't help other people, but help yourself first. Once you help yourself, you're more capable of helping other people. If you diet and exercise regularly, you're going to have more energy to be able to help. So I know, I know some, the women say, well, my husband doesn't help me. And you're probably right. But you can't neglect yourself. That's the problem. And that was kind of the point of that, is I'm not saying don't do the things for your family. Don't do that. I do those things. Take care of your family. Don't neglect them. But at the same time, you can't neglect yourself. You have to pour into yourself first. And that's I would focus on yourself first. And maybe that means you need to get up earlier. Maybe that, you're like, well, I don't have time. Well, you do. It's the same time that I have. And how did I solve it? I got up earlier. My kids get up at like, 7. So I get up at 5, or I get up at 4, because I like to run a lot, and that takes me about 45 minutes. So I have to get up early for that. I like to work out. I like to read. I like to study. I like to plan and prepare. All that stuff takes time. So that stuff's really important for me. That's the most important for me, is to do that stuff. And if I can't do that stuff, then I'm not ready to take care of the rest of the people. I'm not ready to come here to the office and help you. I need to take care of myself, make sure I work out, make sure I exercise, make sure that I got my mental right, so then I'm prepared to help you. That's what I'm talking about. I'm still here to help. I still give. I'm a giver. I'm still here to do that stuff. But it's about helping yourself so you're better prepared to help other people. Let's see. That's right. Someone says I deserve to feel amazing. That's right. You do. Get lipo. Patty says, I really want to go with you to get lipo, but I'm in Colorado. And Patty, I'm like, I know this isn't going to be a surprise, but there are planes. We live in a world now that you can travel from pretty much anywhere. And I know from Colorado it's about an hour and 45-minute flight, because I was just there a couple weeks ago. So don't use that excuse. If you're going to spend, thousands of dollars on a liposuction procedure, a couple $100 for a flight is a drop in the bucket. Especially, again, experience matters. Experience matters. So you can go to someone locally, but if they don't specialize in liposuction, where they're doing procedures every day, and they have experience of thousands of procedures, if they haven't done that, then it's gonna be worthwhile for you to spend the extra money to fly out here, because then you won't have to get it done again, and you'll get the results that you're looking for. Someone says, what's the BMI we need to have? There is no BMI. I don't even know how to calculate BMI. So if you do, congratulations, but it doesn't freaking matter. And any doctor that tells you that it matters, they're full of crap, because it really doesn't. If you have fat, that's what I'm looking for. And if you're big, you're really big, that's awesome because that means I can make a huge dramatic change for you. Will I still have to change in my stomach without the muscles being repaired? So Robin, you're asking, so you've been told you need a tummy tuck and you've been told that they need to tighten your stomach. And I know there's some people that their belly bulges out and they have weakening of the muscles. Some people maybe would benefit from that. But most people don't really have that problem. It's this is a plastic surgery ploy. And again, I've never seen you, so if I'm talking out of my butt right now, then please disregard everything. But a lot of plastic surgeons will tell people that they have weakened muscles just to get them to do a tummy tuck. So I would call our office, go through the consultation process, and let us ask you the questions and see if we can figure it out for you. Lily says, I'd never have it done in Washington. I'm definitely going to see you soon. How much is a 360 lipo? Lily, again, the 360 lipo is a description of all the way around the waistline, but depending on how large you are, it depends on how many areas that we need to treat. So again, just get the consultation, and we can, we'll figure it out from there. We'll get you taken care of. But the 360 lipo is awesome, awesome. And if you're thinking about if you don't have a waistline now, I mean, like it's life changing. It really it blows my mind because like I know you're gonna connect with this, that when you're larger, you always, and I did this too. When I was larger, I wore big baggy clothes and it's like you want to cover it up, right? You cover all this stuff up, and no one has any idea how big you really are because you cover everything up. So when you get 360 lipo, you're gonna need a whole new wardrobe because all that baggy crap you're not gonna like that anymore. You're gonna be like, man, I just spent all this money, went through all this recovery and all this stuff. I am going to be showing off my waistline because I can. That's the only reason. So you're gonna go get a whole new wardrobe. So plan for that extra little cost. So, all right, guys. I appreciate you watching. I'll be back. Thank you. And don't forget to get your free consultation. Go to our website, give us a call. I appreciate you guys again. Counting down. I'll see you guys soon. Get your 360 lipo. You need this. You need this. You deserve it. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to look good. And I believe in you. You're amazing. You guys have a great day.